Is it just me, or did we shift into a new reality? One that's happy, that's fun, that's magical, that life is worth living? Okay, here's the thing. I get seasonal depression. I don't know if it's just that lifting because it's been nice and sunny and we are now in summer. I don't know if it's just me. I don't know if it's the full moon. I don't know if it's something we're all experiencing, but I'm getting the vibe that I'm not alone. People seem happier out there. When I interact with people, everything just feels lighter and better. And it's very exciting. It also makes me feel a little cray, if you know what I'm saying. Because I don't know if it's just me, right? And I hope it's not just me. I hope we're all experiencing this. But doesn't it feel like life is just magical? Doesn't it feel like you have your childlike sense of wonder renewed? Does it not feel like you can conquer and take on anything you want? That you have finally the energy to pursue things that you've wanted to, that you finally have let go of old narratives, you've let go of holding on to darkness and sadness? Does it not feel like you could just levitate off the ground if you wanted to? Does it not feel like that? Because that's what it feels like for me. And it's really exciting. I'm very stoked. Oh, and I'm so grateful. Earlier I was looking at a plant that had part of its leaves eaten out by bugs. And I was thinking to myself, how amazing it must have been for those bugs. They're just moseying along doing their thing and like, oh, this leaf looks crunchy and delicious. Yum, yum. And that probably made their day, you know? Just that thing alone. And we get so bogged down by what we think we should be doing with our time, how we think we should be feeling, all just the pain of life, Like there's so many things you have to do in life that there's only so much time that you get to just be, and live life. And maybe it's me, maybe again, I'm projecting a bit, but doesn't it feel like life has meaning again? That it's enough as it is. There doesn't have to be more. There doesn't have to be anything else. I could focus, right? In this very moment, it would take significant energy for me to focus on the negative of life and be caught up in that. And it just doesn't feel right. Like right now, I am like in awe, I think I said this before, but it's true. It's really remarkable. And I hope I'm not the only one going through this, because if so, I might have had like a psychotic break or something. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like the darkness just lifted. It's like, you know, it. I feel like me. I feel like me again. I feel like me. Of course, I have sadness. Of course, there's times, but it's been so long since I was just so happy, just being. Not trying to force anything, but just happy, just content. It's very cool. It's very cool. Very excited, you know? And maybe it's just the natural progression of things. Maybe I'm coming out of like a dark night of the soul. I feel like the last 3-ish, like a really long time has been pretty dark. So it's not just the seasonal depression stuff. Life had been heavy, and I've really tried to hone in on feeling through the darkness, which I'm sure you are as well. Because the thing is, like, I've realized in life, if I keep running from all these things, it's just going to repeat itself, right? If I run from the heavy things that are having a hard time, processing, maybe like those real big wounds we have in our shadow, like betrayal, grief, abandonment. If we continuously run from those things when they come up, or we predict that they may happen and we run, we just perpetuate the cycle. This is what I've seen in life. So I've gotten to the place in life where I'm just like, either the darkness is going to consume me and take me out, you know what I'm saying? Or I'm going to overcome it, because I rather face all the darkness, feel the pain for what it is, the unprocessed, the hurt, the child in me that wishes, they were seen, they were loved appropriately, going back and holding space for her and loving her so much. I don't want these old wounds and old scars to like carry me forward, I don't want them to, be like the subconscious thing that I'm like seeking in people and relationships and situations. I don't want it to continue to play out. And I don't care what that means. If I lose people, I don't care if that means I lose sense of stability. I don't care if I become, homeless. I mean, that won't happen, but you know what I'm saying? I feel like nothing matters in life if I keep replaying the old pain. I don't want that life. It's so hard not knowing where we're in pain and not knowing how it's controlling our life. And I think the one thing we can do that sets us free from some of this, or at least allows us to see it compassionately when it becomes this subconscious programming, is developing a muscle of compassion for ourselves, realizing that we don't have to be perfect. We don't have to have all the answers. We don't have to be, I'm going to say perfect again, because the thing is, we try so hard. We like, especially if if you're a quote unquote good person, you don't want to hurt other people, but you also know that you have areas that you can't see. You have blind spots. And the only way you get to see them, unfortunately, is by bumping up into them, right? And then navigating those moments that those things do happen. Generally, I feel like people aren't intending to hurt other people, but we bleed on people who didn't hurt us because we do have old pain and old scars. And this happens in so many situations, usually in relation to other people, right? If you just stay in your cocoon, right, you isolate, you don't get that feedback of where you have scars and trauma, right? So we feel safe in a way, but is it really safe? Secluding ourselves, getting real caught up in our sadness and the darkness. I think there's time and a place for it, but I also think there's time to let those pains go, right? We can get attached to our pain body. I know I'm going maybe on a little bit of a rant here, but I think it's important, and this is where I'm being guided right now. But we get attached to our pain. It becomes like this badge of honor. Like, this is what we've gone through. These are the struggles, and in a way, it feeds our egoic self. To think that like we've gone through all of this. You don't understand, right? But the more we feed that narrative and that like we've gone through so much and people can't see, the more we create separation and ultimately isolate ourselves and really abandon those desires to have community, to have fulfillment, to have relationships. It's really easy. Like when I'm really sad, I'm like, I don't need anyone. I don't need anyone or anything. But that's just old wounds talking. That's just old pain. I don't want that. I'd rather have a life full, I'd rather have, as I have in the past, I've had really close relationships. I've had, good relationships, like romantic relationships, and I desire that in my life. I don't want a life of solitude, of, just going through all my pain alone. There's nothing in that. I think the pain that gets created in relationships has to heal in relationships as well. A lot of us have relational trauma. A lot of us maybe didn't have the best caretakers growing up, because they couldn't, be there for themselves. They didn't have the self-compassion. So again, right, the cycle perpetuates, and they hurt unknowingly, right? And they can't be present with your pain because they can't even fathom that they would cause other people pain, right? And it just becomes this whole colossal, pain thing that's happening, and we're bleeding anyways. So I think, well, I went on a tangent, but gosh, I hope a lot of people are feeling this new energy. And if not, I'm feeling it, and I'm really stoked. And I do want to mention, though, like my content might become kind of disgustingly positive here soon. So I do want to mention, I definitely, like a pendulum, can swing, as dark and heavy as things can get. And I allow myself to feel that, right? Like touch and go kind of stuff. It can also swing completely the other way, where I am just like full of life. I love life to like the brim, and I'm in synchronicity, and I'm in flow, and magic's happening, and I feel like a season of that is about to occur, and I'm very excited. So for anyone who's resonating with my content, a lot of it has been dark because I have been in darkness. You might you might not resonate anymore, and that's okay. You know, I think in life we just naturally resonate with people and don't. Just find your balance with it all. And for anyone new who resonates with the new energy, I'm excited for that. But regardless, you know, all of this has been a great medium for me. I've been making these thought streams now for a year, and it's helped me grow a lot. It's helped me reflect a lot. It's allowed me to really build self compassion. And I think again, looking back on everything, I think self compassion has helped me grow the most. So if there's anywhere in your life you can give yourself some of that, I'd recommend that. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. As always, I hope you're having a lovely day, and you have a great weekend coming up. And I'll see you on the next one.